Hello everybody, welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown. We're going to take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up in the next week. Not a lot of campaigns are finishing this week, but a couple notable ones and a couple that I'm excited to check out. So yeah, we're going to do that. But first, shout out to my newest patrons, Jal, Jason, and Stacy. Thanks very much for jumping on board and supporting the channel. It's genuinely meaningful to me. It genuinely helps me pay my bills, continue to carve out time and put it into the channel and put it into video content creation and put it into playing and aggressively expanding my board game knowledge as much as possible so that I can be a resource for you all, so that I can be an expert in the field. That's what I'm continually trying to do. I think on Wednesday there's going to be a little vlog that Zach and I went to Asmodee's anniversary party. They're opening an office in Brampton, Ontario, and that was cool. And we literally just went around the room and we're like, hey, what do you do here? Whoa, tell us all about your job. How does that, like, certainly North America's like largest board game distributor. So that was really cool. And it's for you all that I'm trying to gain all this knowledge, to gain a clear picture of the industry and make sure that I am here as your expert. One of these days I'll be an expert, and it's thanks to all of your support. So yeah, I love you all. You're amazing. So let's get into the week. We're going to start with Roman Right. I was just filming this and then my microphone was off. It shows you how much of an expert I am. I just wanted to impress you with my expertise. I wasn't sure that this would be any good because, you know, only 29 backers. It's just a little Roman Right. You're going to get the files for the cards to print out these cards, but I think it actually looks pretty good. You're going to be having 5 different types of building. You're going to flip over a building. You're going to write that building in one of these spaces, and you don't want to go over budget. Every building costs a certain amount, and every building costs a different amount if it's touching something else, or if there's combos or whatever. So you want to arrange this in a particular pattern. After the first round, you then choose if you're going to score rows or columns, and so you can be trying to build out how you're putting everything down based around where things have been dropped in the first round. You can choose to skip buildings as well, but it'll cost you points, and so that sort of min-max idea there. And you don't even have to write these letters of the buildings. You could just write the numbers because they're all worth a different value, and I think that's great. So you have your 2s, your 3s, your 4s, your 5s, and your 6s, and I think that's how I would want to play this game. Yeah, it's $4 for the print and play files. I think it looks equally as good as any sort of print and play out there. Very simple concept from somebody who's done like 35 print and plays. So yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. So I figured it is worth talking about. We're moving on to something that I really should have made its own video about because I feel very passionately that nobody should get this. What are you doing, you Castles of Burgundy fanatics out there? You Puerto Rico, Agricola, Awakened Realm, plastic mongers? I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? How much space do you all have in your shelves? And why do you want to add more fiddle to your games? That's the question. Why do you want to take a game that costs like $80 and that's fine, a little, you know, on the pricey side, but it's a great game. And why do you want to just overcomplicate it? Huh? Is it really going to enhance your love of the game? And you know what, I was even potentially on board, maybe because in Ark Nova you have an open pen and then you have a closed pen for when you add an animal into there. And I'm like, oh, are you actually adding the physical animals in there? Maybe a bunch of like little animals so that you know what's in what pen, you don't have to remember. That was one of my, like, before I played the game, I thought this might be annoying, and then you play the game and you're like, yeah, it's not. It's fine. It's not annoying whatsoever. But it doesn't even do that. It just has these weird fences around, which I find weird to read. Like I find this actively harder to play the game just by looking at what is happening here. This is probably your only chance to receive this content, and hopefully for good measure. But you know what? Like I know this isn't a product for me, right? You know me. Maybe you don't. If you don't, I'm very cheap. My whole channel was based off of me being poor and not having infinite money to purchase every single board game whim that comes my way. And you know what? Even if you do have infinite money, you probably still shouldn't purchase every board game whim that comes your way. And that's why you come here for the voice of reason to slowly worm its way into your head over the course of, 2, 3, 4 years, and then start to make sensible decisions and start to consider what you actually play and how you spend your time. And that's what I'm here for. I know my lane. I know what I'm here for. I just like, I don't know. I just don't care. I guess I can see the appeal of these unique shapes having unique buildings. I think for me, what I don't like about this specific design is this the 3D edition box 2, where you get all these bases and these enclosures. I think it just ends up being busy, right? I think when there's so much going on in Ark Nova, it's easy to miss things. And I think this is just going to make it easier to miss things while you're playing the game. But I also understand. I understand that people love the Terraforming Mars forests. But even still, in Terraforming Mars, you have forests, you have lakes, you have buildings. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why you would spend so much money on this, unless Ark Nova is like your favorite game of all time. I just think that this looks uglier than this. I think it looks busier than that. It makes it harder for me to comprehend what is going on here at a glance than what is happening here. And I suppose if you wanted acrylic tiles, or you wanted some acrylic terrain, that might be more interesting. You just want thicker tiles, sure. I know that I've punched out a lot of Ark Nova because it's in the World Series of Board Gaming, and so I've had to punch out new copies of it. And every single one of those copies, almost every single coin hangs. Like nothing punches out clean. It was so annoying for me to punch out a ton in a row. And I guess you could make an argument for the deluxifications. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing I can say here. This is why I didn't do a video about this, because there's really nothing that I can say that will convince you. I know this. You know this, right? What can I say? What can I say here? Let's be honest with each other. For once in our lives, right? I can't convince you not to get this. I have no idea why you would. I think it will make the game actively worse. It's raised $2 million, so I guess I'm happy for people who have gotten this. It's raised almost 4 million Canadian. This shows that there was a desire, there was a need. There's a need to make Ark Nova a larger box on your shelf, harder to play, longer to set up, harder to read as you're playing. And for the price of this, you could just buy maybe 2 extra copies of Ark Nova and have those as backups in case your other copy wears out. But what do I know? I don't know. Is this the point where I've been beaten down for deluxifications? Have I been beaten down enough? I know people in my Discord are gonna be like, he said buy it. I'm not saying buy it. I'm saying I can, but if you're happy, I'm happy. But I just think it makes the game worse in almost every single way. And you have to be honest with yourself about will this make you get it to the table more? Or will you just keep playing it on Board Game Arena instead? Because it's easier to set up, quicker to play, and almost makes the physical copy obsolete. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to make it less obsolete by purchasing this. I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know your life. I feel this is the sort of campaign where I feel the soul being sucked out of my body. But you know what? It's a friendly soul as opposed to some other campaigns that are going to happen down the line. I don't know what to say. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the game taking longer and taking up more room on your shelf. If you haven't backed it, well, good. I'm very proud of you. But you have until the 18th at 5 p.m. to get in on this campaign. That's when it's going to finish, on the 18th. We're not moving along to this Time Rift collectible card game, which 260 people have raised $123,000 Canadian. That's an average of $500 per person. Do we think that's real? Probably not. But it did do the $1 pre-pledge, which, again, I find is a very scummy tactic, and we'll talk about that in one campaign as to why I think it's kind of scummy and as to the non-answers that people can actually give. And I think it actually actively hurts your campaign at this point. But I don't know. It's a weird time. Let's go into this. Le Vent Rouge, a game of thieves and dice, a 2 to 4 player competitive roll and spend game. There's a relaunch. That's nice. They've hit their funding goal. I hope that's a real funding goal. That's great. And let's check it out. This is from Willpower Games, publishing indie RPGs. Cool. I don't think I've ever looked at anything like this. It was 49 back in the day. Is it still 49? Full game is 48. Look at that. Look at that. And then the deluxe is 64. All right, let's see what this is. Roll and spend. I like the theming of it. The video gets me excited about the theme of becoming the best master thief. It's a roll and spend dice system. Match dice results, group pips on your cards, and unleash powerful abilities. Okay, so you're going to be collecting all these different cards. They're going to need specific dice to activate them. You're going to hope to activate them with rolling your dice. High stakes mansion heist, sneak past the guards, nab the treasure, and dare to face the boss. Dynamic player interaction. Compete, negotiate, and team up when it suits you. It's just now becoming strong bad. Risk versus reward. Spend gold for upgrades or hoard it for victory points. I do like that as a potential. Click to read the rules. Yes. 4 big dice. Players set their life totals to 5. Reserve bonus dice tracks to 1. Their gold to 7. I think I'll start to 0. Okay. Enter the well-guarded mansion. Sneak past guards. Grab treasure. Roll dice to attack and defend. All players face guards at once. One player rolls 4 dice, and everyone matches the result. As a roll and spend game, you group the dice into separate totals to meet your requirements on your cards. Okay. Spend bonus dice to boost your roll. Cool. Oh, cool. And it's got a too many bones thing where you earn more by gaining wind, rolling a 1, fill a wind track of a color, you gain a bonus dice of that color. Cool. Wounded players can retreat to the Thieves Market, healing and trading gold for upgrades, but gold is victory points. So every purchase means sacrificing points for power. Love that. Player with the most gold wins. When enough guards fall or the boss is taken out, capture gold and treasure, high score win. Neat. So 6 phases. You can hire the red thief, who's the special thief. All players choose guards to fight, possibly form partnerships or run away, set up fights. All players in fights draw guard cards, matching the color they're fighting and set up its life totals. Then they simultaneously roll their dice, spending it on cards, trying to defeat and engage the guard. I don't know why everybody's rolling the dice here. And then, okay, fighting, each player must be able to draw a path from their current location to the chosen guard. Cannot move through walls. Players cannot move through other players as well. So positioning is important. Different guard colors have different damage totals. Sure. Okay, when you make an offer, it's kind of like Moonrakers where you can say, hey, come with me, help me fight this guy. If we win, I will give you 1 penny. And you can say yes or no. But you can only make one offer to one alone player not yet in a fight. No one can ask questions, discuss more details. 1 player, 1 exact offer. Sure, you could probably house rule it, but I guess that's just to keep the pace moving a bit, which is fine. I would love to be able to say, hey, yeah, no, put me on. Whatever you want, I'll join you. And then when they give an offer, I say, no, there's 1 offer. Go fight them alone. Okay, so yeah, everybody does have the same numbers to start, and then you simultaneously spend dice as well. I like this. I like everybody having the same numbers because there's a little bit of luck with the extra dice that you're adding. You have a baseline though, and everybody can work on that same baseline, choosing what guards to fight. And so it really comes down to those extra dice. And have you been bold or not, right? The choices of what type of person you're going for is determined beforehand, and then you roll the dice. So there still is some inherent variability there because you're not all going to be going for the red person or the purple person or whatever. Cool. So you're just rolling. There's a second attack. There's a third attack. Oh no, immediately end unfinished fights after the second attack. Okay. Yeah, you're just, checking dice. I think getting the items will be interesting. It's probably too expensive for what it is, though. I mean, deluxe is $89 Canadian. If you're just going for the base game, it's 67 Canadian, then plus shipping. Shipping in Canada is like 20, right? So you're paying $90 for a quick game of rolling dice, taking out guards. I don't know. I think it would be fine, right? I think it would be fun. It's not something that I would want to spend that much money on. It's something that I would want to spend, $40 on for a quick little dice rolling game. I think the cost of it for what you're getting is probably what is putting people off backing this, but I think for what it is, yeah, totally. It doesn't have any red flags of it being bad. It's very clear on what it is. It's very clear on you're going to be rolling dice. There's going to be a little bit of that Moonrakers negotiation, which I like. I think that's going to be fairly integral to the game. So if you don't want that negotiation of like, hey, come fight this person with me, you probably won't like this game. I don't know. I'm happy that it has reached its goal. I'm happy that it's funded. And I think the people who are getting it will enjoy it. Just a bit too expensive for my taste. I imagine I would rate this like a 3.5. It would be like, yeah, it's a good game. Not that memorable, though. That finishes Friday, September 19th at 2:59 a.m. Moving along, we've got Blood Rage Valhalla. Now, I'm not going to cover Blood Rage Valhalla. I'm not going to really talk about the mechanisms behind it. And that's a real shame. I made a decision not to cover any $1 pre-pledges, to give any free publicity to games that engage what I think is a very anti-consumer practice. And I don't think that Blood Rage had to do this. But I think the reason why Blood Rage decided to go down this route is because they knew that they were racking up the price as high as they could, hoping to capitalize on the aftermarket prices that existed. You know, to get a full Rising Sun package, they would want to charge you $420 Canadian plus shipping. It's like $450. And I think they just looked at the aftermarket and said, okay, we have this IP. We're going to charge people what they have been getting on the aftermarket because people have been paying it. And I don't think a lot of people have been paying it. I think that's a great thing. They've also upped the price for what it used to cost in retail. And downgraded it because in order to make this upgrade pack seem a little bit more doable, they put in the plastic clan markers and the plastic coins, which were in the original game as well. So they've downgraded the quality of the main game and upped the price, and hoped that they could get people with the sunk cost fallacy of the $1 pre-pledge. But to Tabletop Tycoon's credit, you know, they do say that all of this is going to be available later on, which is another reason why you shouldn't back it now, why you should speak with your wallet to say, listen, the $1 pre-pledge isn't a good idea. And so I was very passionate about this, and I just want to read to you the exchange that I had with Tabletop Tycoon or Tycoon Games. Now, when I expressed my opinions on this matter and what their response was, because I thought it was a good response, and I also thought it was a great representation of not answering the question or not actually addressing the issues that I brought up and just kind of going back to the own talking point, because I don't think that there is a good enough answer to the issues that I've brought up, the talking points that I've brought up. And I think companies know this, and so they just try to skirt around the issues, and I'm not satisfied with that as a response. And I also think it's interesting looking at a company's response. I thought our exchange was very cordial, clearly a difference of opinion, but I just wanted to share that exchange. So I'm going to read out that exchange for you all. So I reached out to my contact and I said, hi, I'm wondering if you can shed some light on the decision of Rage Valhalla to use the $1 pre-pledge tactic on their upcoming campaign through GameFound instead of doing a normal follow bonus or just stretch goals in the campaign, which there are no stretch goals in the campaign. I can't imagine why there is a need to do this, since Rage Valhalla is sure to be a smashing success. Eric Lang is my favorite designer, with Rage in my top 50 games, Rising Sun being my #1 game of all time. I'm also one of the early playtesters for Rage Valhalla. I've been excited about it for over 2 years, which is true. I've kept my mouth shut about it. I said, I see you're using LaunchKit to receive pre-pledges, and I can only assume that you're using the company LaunchBoom, and that they advised you of this tactic as a surefire way of success, but I truly believe that this is not the case. Again, glad that I'm vindicated. While it was successful as a one-off, I know there's been a huge pushback from the board gaming community, at least the hardcore fans, because the practice is often predatory. I don't believe that to be the case for Rage since the game is already established, but often this practice is used with no additional information given about the game, and it's used solely to give potential backers a sunk cost fallacy. I also understand the ROI argument, and that you can then target people with the same digital profile as those who are going to back the game, but I also don't buy that as the sole reason, or even the main reason, when LaunchBoom has an article on their website, which they changed the language of when I called them out on it in a video, talking about creating a campaign using psychological tricks that creators can exploit. And what's interesting is when this was first brought up in the video that I had talked about, LaunchBoom changed it and had a disclaimer that said, hey, we've changed the language a little bit. We wanted to make sure that we weren't misleading anybody. And like, here's a link to the original article. That no longer exists on this specific article. So they just did it as like a band-aid, and then they had a timer set to remove that so that, you know, they couldn't link back to this original article. But luckily, the internet never forgets. I find the language used by that article to be very anti-consumer and treats the consumer as a mark to be won rather than caring about getting the product into hands that will enjoy it. They even continue to go on to talk about social proof and that you shouldn't fake it because your backers will be mad if they find out, not because lying to your backers is inherently wrong. This is the mindset of the company that started this practice, and while it worked well initially for a game like Botany, a game with little substance and a whole lot of style, consumers, I believe, are now recognizing that they are more often than not underdeveloped games looking to replicate success quickly rather than make something their audience will enjoy. I know Rage Valhalla will be none of those things, and I've been a fan of Tabletop Tycoon for a while, with Everdell being my #3 game of all time at last ranking, with it being #2 now as I release my top 60 games on my channel, and so I'm genuinely devastated that you're going this route. I was very excited to share my thoughts about Valhalla and to be able to champion the reprint of Rising Sun. I was so thrilled to see more attention being brought to some of my favorites, and I was excited for them finding a home at Tabletop Tycoon. But I've also pledged to not provide free coverage to games that participate in the $1 reservation model, which I believe to be an incredibly anti-consumer practice for the reasons listed above, and more. As someone who has struggled with having an addictive personality, the layers that companies will go to separate you from your money is wide and varied. And I understand that's just capitalism at its peak, but I also hope that sometimes we can care about doing things the right way and making sure FOMO isn't the only marketing tool, which I'm also aware of that irony when approaching crowdfunding campaigns. I assume I'll have to talk about why I'm not covering it on the channel in some capacity, since my audience knows my love for both Blood Rage and Rising Sun run deep to my core, or I also assume it will break 1 million easy, and my audience will be looking for a 5 reasons you shouldn't back video that I do whenever a campaign crosses that $1 million threshold quickly, to both share my own excitement and play devil's advocate to those that are being swept up in the marketing, instead of focusing on if their experience will be a good one and their excitement will hold. I would love to have a comment from Tabletop Tycoon before that happens. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like you to look at your comment section and see the loud voices denouncing the practice and pay attention to your audience, but wanted to reach out and check in. Thanks for taking the time. I quite appreciate it. Still looking forward to covering Farshore, Silverfrost, more Tabletop Tycoon content down the line, but felt compelled to reach out and see what was up. I said, I'll direct your attention to both examples, to both Ivy Studios and Inside Up for trying out the $1 tactic, and then immediately deciding to never do it again as an examples of other large studios that have already been through this experience, if that adds more weight than one lowly YouTuber who finds everything too expensive for his meager budget. I don't think I'm a lowly YouTuber, and my patrons called me out on that because I already shared this with them, and they were like, listen, don't do yourself a disservice. And I know it was just more of a rhetorical device to try to bring other people into the mix, and that it wasn't just one person shouting in the void. So they responded. They said, hey, Chris, thanks for reaching out. I'd be happy to talk a bit about the campaign and our preview offer. We hear the discussion and concerns surrounding FOMO marketing, and these concerns that we similarly share. We don't employ the usage of campaign exclusives or exclusive stretch goals in our campaign, and Valhalla won't be an exception either. The Modguder add-on will be available for direct purchase once Valhalla and the Classic Trilogy hit retail, and we're committed to ensuring that these games and all of their add-ons remain available and obtainable. Our remastered editions of Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Ankh will come with a restructuring of the products, making all previous content available again so that longtime fans can finally finish their collection and so new fans can jump in and get the complete experience. Personally speaking, I care a great amount about game preservation, and I think that collectors will be quite pleased by these titles and their expansions being available widely again. For our fans who are hesitant, there's no rush at all. We'll be updating our preview page with more information about the game, how it builds upon Blood Rage over the coming weeks as we get closer to campaign kickoff. We'll be giving ample warning as to when the campaign begins and when the offer will expire. If you're still not sure, you'll be able to pick it up at retail for years down the line. I hope this provides some insight into our thought process here. Even if we don't have your coverage, I hope you're excited for the game and look forward to the campaign launch. Please let me know if you have any further questions on this. And I thought that was a really nice response that doesn't address any of my concerns. But I think I think that is should be noted, and Tycoon Games should be noted for that idea and that concept and making sure that things are readily available, and that they're not sort of giving into that FOMO, because they are going to be readily available. They're going to be available at an incredible premium, but you know, that's just how they're pricing it. So I did respect that as a response, and I was like, oh yeah, this feels like a good response. And then I thought, wait a minute, I don't think you actually addressed any of my concerns. So I just said, well, it's great to hear about game preservation and love that all that stuff is coming back into circulation. Do you have any input on why you decided to go with Launch Boom and decided on the $1 pre-pledge tactic? I did a very short question because I often can be very long-winded, and then it's hard to respond to a number of things, right? So I just wanted to get some clarification from Tycoon Games, and they said, hey, thanks for the follow-up. We felt that there was room to grow with our marketing from our previous campaigns and wanted to work with a partner that was well established. Woof. I don't know how you can fumble a campaign like Blood Rage that was almost guaranteed to be $1 million campaign, but apparently Launch Boom did. We knew from the beginning that we didn't want our promotional offer to be an exclusive campaign limited product, which is often the case for many free follower gifts. We feel that this free offer allows for early adopters to find a good deal while still leaving room for incoming fans years down the line to complete their collection. Again, respectfully not answering my question. We didn't want it to be an exclusive, which is often the case for many free follower gifts. It doesn't have to be. Why does it have to be? Why did it have to be the $1? Why couldn't it have been a free follower gift and you charge people down the line? I think that's actually standard practice. And I said, that's a nice thought, but why not just do the follower gift that GameFound has been doing for ages now? I think it also achieves these goals while not delving into this additional sunk cost fallacy. Genuinely curious. I can only assume it's because you believe this will convert better, but I think board gamers are pretty sick of these practices in my circle, and I think Blood Rage would be equally successful without it, perhaps even more. And so that was essentially where our conversation ended. Again, sort of no ill will, no bad blood. Here, I thought it was a very nice conversation, but I also think it shows that there was no real answer to why there was a $1 pre-pledge to begin with. And I think the answer is they thought it would convert better because of the sunk cost fallacy that people are now sick of. And so, yeah, I just wanted to, that is sort of the coverage that I want to talk about Blood Rage Valhalla. I don't care that the map looks like a big old clue board that people are up in arms against. You know, I I think it's wildly expensive for what they're trying to get you to purchase for it. I think it will be cheaper down the line at retail because you won't have to pay for shipping. And I don't think that there's any reason to purchase it at this campaign, even if you are interested, because of the wide availability that they're hoping to push forward. And so because of that, I think it is better to sort of vote with our wallets and get it in different channels and not fall prey to this sort of $1 pre-pledge sunk cost fallacy that makes you feel better about paying what is a very large premium for a product that is the same as Blood Rage with just a couple twists, you know? Again, love Eric Lang. Tycoon Games now have my top 2 games of all time in their catalog. I think Rising Sun is the best game ever. I do. But I also think us as consumers can take a stand in some capacity and speak up and vote with our wallets. I think this is a beautiful example of seeing consumers vote with their wallets and see and not respond to the what seemed to be fairly gouging prices and just kind of a additional FOMO tactic that apparently no longer works. If it can't work on Blood Rage, what's it going to work on, really? To their credit, I also did the $1 pre-pledge, and I wanted to see how easy it was to get a refund, and it was easy to get a refund. It was processed, next couple business days. And there was a part of me that was like, well, I'm just doing it now. There really was a part of me where I was like, okay, now I do have the thing for free. So like, do I just back it and not tell anybody? But I decided to stick to my guns and realize that, for the amount that I play Blood Rage, I think the base Blood Rage that I already have is fine. And I also think that in a lot of these cases, the base game is fine. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I guess show that I try to practice what I preach, show Tycoon Games' response, which again, I thought was a good, respectful response that didn't actually address the things that I wanted them to address. And then you'll see reviews for Farshore and Silverfrost coming down the line. Here's the quick notes. Farshore, not as good as Everdell. Silverfrost, quite a fun, different experience. Silverfrost is real good. So yeah, I'm excited to compare those two. Farshore also good, but it's just like everybody who I played with was like, and I made them play both, and they never played Everdell before, and they're just like, yeah, I mean, Everdell's better. What do you want me to say? I was like, that's fair. So let's move on to this one. That's enough of that coverage that I wasn't doing, but kind of did, but not really. We've got this one, the Chilena Futbol card game, the beautiful game in your pocket, the official card game of the soccer emoji. Okay. A game so realistic it has its own fan club and tabloid media. Sure. What is this game? Are you just going to show me the name of football players? Because it's working. Takes 5 minutes to play for 2 players. The beautiful game in your pocket. 1 versus 1 duels against your football and card game obsessed family, friends, and teammates of all ages. Read a tiny rulebook once to learn the game forever. Most rules are on the cards. Play cards every few seconds. Play matches every few minutes. All right. If it happens on the pitch, it happens in the game. Chilena means bicycle kick in Spanish. Ramon Unzaga apparently was the first person to do a bicycle kick. Bicycle kicks are friggin' incredible, they're incredible feats. Let's be real. Wow, look at that goal by Ronaldinho. I mean, come on. Yeah, okay, these are pretty great, but will the card game be good? I mean, it's great watching a sports highlight. So what's the card game? Do you have your tiny little rules booklet for me to learn? Instructions, here we go. Shuffle each deck separately, draw 7 cards each. Play pass and dribble cards. After you play, opponent defends. If you can't play, you have to substitute. Play a card, draw a card. Substitute, you draw X cards and discard X cards. Okay. End your attack after you substitute or after you score. When you score, flip that card over, and then you're the defender, I guess. You can play defending cards if you're the defender. After you play, opponent attacks. If you can't play, you must substitute. How to win. All cards are drawn, and neither player can score. I don't know what the numbers of the +1 goals are. So you just keep playing green cards until they can't defend against you, and then you score. I don't know. I don't think this looks any good at all, I think. It's just like, hey, do I have cards in my hand? I win. Do you? You lose. $21. I don't know. I had more fun watching bicycle kick goals than I think I could ever have playing this game. Unfortunately, the finish is Friday, September 19th at 11:22 a.m. Ooh, okay. Here's the one that I'm excited about. Here's one of them that I'm excited about checking out. This is Satchell Quest, a unique bag building adventure board game. Satchell Quest is a competitive bag building dungeon adventure where players battle monsters, dodge traps, and compete for valor. Sure, I know that this has got a bunch of people behind Flat Out as well. because I saw Molly Johnson's name and Sean Stankiewicz. Weird City Games. Okay, they did Leaf, they did Canopy, March of the Ants. Yeah, the designers of Point Salad with development by the designers of Wonderland's War. All right, you explore a new dungeon every round, you add new maps as you delve deeper. Oh, that's kind of cool that each chip that you draw has 2 different sides. I like that. Yeah, especially with a bag builder, you almost always want to go deluxe just because the oil's on your hand. Although if it's wood, they can still come off, right? Like I have in Orleans, my tokens are rubbing off because of wood. So you actually might want to get the standard one and then do a coin capsule treatment or a resin treatment if you're worried about longevity. All right, gameplay overview. You draw a dungeon entrance map. Decide which side to brave. Some are going to give you benefits or other ones. Pull a chip, and choose one of the unique sides to play on the top floor. Once you fill the floor, advance to the next. Now everything on the next floor is active. And that's what your little meeple's for, just to remind you what level you're on. Fill a map, add a whole new map, choose a side, shift it 1 space left or right. Okay, there'll be things that you have to unlock with specific chips of how to defeat them. You'll want to defend from monsters and be able to attack the monsters that are there, to have like defense chips to be around or attack chips to be around. That's kind of fun. Gain gold equal to the value of your coins. Double it for any adjacent to gems, sure, so you can have like boosting ones. Cool, yeah, I think this looks fun. Gain rewards for your chains of artifacts, sure. Spend experience to level up with unique skills. Everybody will have their own tiered skills. Player in the lead is beset by petitioners, but the others head to the tavern for some R&R. So a little beer, like Quack's catch-up mechanism, which I think is great, especially in bag builders, right? You want to have a bonus if you're behind, because otherwise you can it's just too much of a runaway leader. Oof, that was close. Oh, cool. Bows hitting diagonal lines, so you can build out. Yeah, nice. The weapons. Yeah, this looks really fun. Again, though, it might be a case of retail. It really might be a case of retail. I really like the idea of it being a double-sided chip, and that will make it harder to keep track of what's in your bag as well, and add to the chaos. Each hero starts with a few extra chips as well. Fun. Okay, and if you're in the lead, you don't get to recover health, but for each mug in between, you can choose to recover 1 health. Cool. That's the in-between times. Yeah, I think this looks fun. Definitely looks fun. I think this is going to be a pretty good hit. $4 shipping to the US. That's sick. $9 to Canada. Nice. They must be doing it through the same people who help BoardGameTables.com. Sorry. All play. Yeah, I mean, great shipping. Deluxe edition is still $100. I don't know, how much is Quack's Deluxe? It's about $100 Canadian as well. It's like 80 or 90. So on par with that. If you just want the retail, it's 68, and then shipping we put it again at like 80. Expensive, but hey, if Blackboard Gaming likes it, I like it. Blackboard Gaming famously loved Jade appearing on the Rahdo stream, and now anytime I see you, Dwayne, if it was you who was commentating, I'm gonna shout you out because I love you, buddy. I friggin' love you. Yeah, that finishes Friday, September 19th at 6 p.m. I think it looks solid. Looks really solid. I think the variation, it would hold its own against Quacks, you know, and have, I mean, Quacks is just so good at what it does. But I think the added elements of delving into the dungeon, it seems really fun. And I love the dual side of things. Yeah, it seems really cool. Again, though, probably better to get it at retail, although the shipping is great. So the shipping is really nice. And that finishes Friday, September 19th at 6 p.m. Let's move along to the last week of summer. A modular board game set in 1986. High school is over, and then you have 1 more week to make the most of summer. Make it rad. How are you going to make summer the best possible? 6 rad locations. Use 4 each game, so little mini games that you're rotating in and out. Yeah, they're all just little mini games. Eat all you can at the Burger Rocket. Yum. It's just a push your luck game. The end of the week, the player with the most cassettes, because you obviously got a bunch of mixtapes wins the game. Combines worker placement with modular locations. Plan your day, then visit the towns you compete to make friends with the coolest kids in town. Everybody plans their morning, noon, and evening, choosing 3 actions, all done simultaneously. Then you visit locations in the order you chose, either working or hanging out. When you visit locations, it matters. Other players distract you. But if you time it right, you can befriend the coolest kids in town. Cool. So you want to pick where other people aren't going. Completing goals, making friends, being invited to parties gains you cassettes, which represent your summer memory. Rulebook is here. Yeah. It's just a bunch of mini games, essentially. Kind of want to know a bit more about how the mini games are balanced. All right. So each location also has seems like they have a limited number of cassettes. Push your luck game, try to get to the top of a track. Mancala, where you get all the things, go to the top of a track. everything is going to cost you $1 to do, so you're going to always have to work, and you're going to want to work where the cool kids are. I don't know, little polyomino thing, rolling dice. It seems like a little roll and write style game, mini game style game, where the mini games seem okay, just nothing that gets me actively interested. How much? 46 pounds? $87. I thought this was going to be like $30. That's insane. It does not, I mean, it's probably because they're doing maybe varying stuff, but it doesn't need to be that expensive. Wow. How much is shipping? 10 pounds, 18 pounds. Ooh, this is like $100 game for this very basic mini game style game, where none of the mini games seem like they'll be that memorable. I'm glad it's found its market, but I don't see this having much longevity whatsoever. That finishes Saturday, September 20th at 5 p.m. Moving along to Sharp Cheddar, the cheesy little dice game. The speedy, cheesy dice game sure to bring all to the table. Roll the dice, count the dots, and control the wedge to win. Okay, you basically just roll the dice and try to count the pips as quickly as possible, but the roller gets to choose, I think, secretly if they're going to throw the cheese. Or not. And if they throw the cheese, then you have to count what's on the cheese showing, which I guess is showing on all different sides. And the dice are weird. They have different pips in weird spots, and it makes it hard to count. $20. $20 to get these little dice in a triangle shape. That's $28 Canadian. Do they have anything about shipping? Let's see. Nope. It's only to the United States, and they don't tell you what shipping is going to be. So if you want to take a risk, hey, check it out. It finishes Tuesday, September 23rd at 10:17 a.m. I imagine it's being made in the US by a game crafter sort of style thing, and they're charging a little bit more. So probably would be $10 or something. But you never know. Again, that finishes Tuesday, September 23rd at 10:17 a.m. Moving along, we've got Art Society, the Deluxe Edition and expansion, because every game needs a Deluxe Edition, at least according to Matt Laca and all of my patrons. Art Society cranks up the fancy a few notches with this luxurious version and a brand new expansion. I'm interested to see what the expansion has in store. I think Art Society is a fine game, and I think it's a fine game for the retail copy. I don't see what this deluxe edition will be bringing, but let's check it out. Maybe real art pieces. It's already good quality. You know, like it's good cardstock, it's good cardboard. Made especially for the true connoisseurs. Yeah, if you don't get this, you're not a true connoisseur. You're a little idiot baby. A gavel. Who cares? Metal player scoring markers. Sure. Custom storage with game trays. The storage in the main box is already pretty good. Foil adorned paintings in case you get a foil version. Double layered player boards, which like it's one big open space, so it doesn't really matter. Gold foil bidding cards, sure, fancify it, and in a limited edition box. You can also get this little expansion, Friends in High Places, which what is that going to do? It's not going to tell you. Okay, cool. All right, how much is this deluxe edition going to try to go for? €59, $96 Canadian, and if we go, then you have to add shipping to it, right? Or you can go get it for $46. $46 is a great price for this game. I think this is exactly how it should be priced. This is $46 Canadian, by the way. So that's like, what, 30 US? It is very well priced for that. You could get the expansion for the same price. You can just wait until it goes into retail. Again, this is just a retail sort of situation here. I think it's nice that they're making a deluxe edition for those who really want it, but the game is already pretty good. They have to zoom in on where the double layer is because you're just putting it everywhere. It's not even going to help you. The metal markers will make it probably harder to read. Oh no, those are just your score markers. All right, fine. They're not replacing the colored ones. 5 golden tickets hidden inside random Art Society deluxe boxes. Love it. Michael Scott is jumping around to win Mighty Board Games. That's fun. See, that's the reason. That is the way how you would get me to back this. I want to gamble. I want to get the golden ticket. Who doesn't want to get a freaking golden ticket? Right? Like that's 100% how you sucker me in. And I think this is brilliant marketing from Mighty Boards. And I'm so upset that I know it's going to work on me down the line to purchase something that I shouldn't be purchasing. But it's not going to work on me for Art Society Deluxe Edition, but it very well could for something else. Oh no. Oh, what a great marketing tool. Oh, Mighty Boards. You can tell that I've got a gambling problem, right? I don't gamble. And there is a reason. And this is the reason. This is also fun. Some Kickstarter blank paintings if you wanted to draw your own paintings. That's fun too. Yeah, what a fun campaign. Okay, what does the expansion bring? Curator and Socialite cards. Power will give you one powerful favor that can completely change the course of your game. The Socialite will present a series of smaller trends for you to compete to follow. First to complete them gets an earlier choice on which rewards to reap. You're not going to give me the rulebook for the expansion though? Yeah, okay. Friends in high places. Do you have any files? No files found. Yeah. You definitely don't need to spend, though, $130 plus shipping. That's Canadian. You're all in. $160 in this game? No! No, don't do it if you're in Canada. Spend a third of that and get just the regular copy. I think the game is quite good. I think it's quite a good game. It's a very fun bidding game. You're bidding on the shapes of things. You're adding different shapes into the mix. The same color of painting can't touch another color of that painting or else they're worth less. You have to curate your collection. I think it's quite nice. I think it's a great little bidding and polyomino game. I quite enjoyed playing it when I played it at Level Up that one time. But I really think this is a pointless deluxeified expansion that nobody needs. However, you might get a golden envelope to win Mighty Board Games. And so, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But just get the retail copy. Just get the regular thing at retail. You can get the expansion at retail, I guess, when they actually release information about it. Because the, rulebook certainly isn't on this page. I have a frequently asked question. What's the point? What's the point of the expansion? Anyway, that finishes Tuesday, September 23rd at 10:25 a.m. I'm really upset that, come on, am I just missing it? Easy to learn rules? Games of the year rules? No rulebook? Yeah, and there's nothing of what this expansion adds in, or the exact specifics of it, right? That's a bit of a bummer. Anyway, you shouldn't get this, but if you want to, the campaign ends Tuesday, September 23rd at 10:25 a.m. Maybe if you get 5 copies in a row, you'll get all that, because they're just going to put one in each. I know I want to go for the golden ticket, but I'm not going to. And then finally, we're moving on to this, to Arackhan Wars, the Song of Destiny. Lead a faction and its hero, represented by a deck of 23 cards. Outsmart your opponents through epic adventures on the battlefields. Arackhan Wars delivers strong and varied gameplay experiences to 2, 3, or 4 players thanks to its unique and easy-to-learn system based on bluffing, card placement, and interaction and deck construction. Fulfilled in 2023? I don't know what this is. Card battling style game where you're placing things, tableau placement. It's still in its 48-hour early bird when I'm covering this. Well, when I'm looking at it, you could get some holo cards. Love it. I love when holo cards are the exclusive or the promo, because it's not gameplay related. You don't need it, but they are cool and fun to have, It's a standalone game. Use the pre-constructed faction decks to dive straight into the adventure, and then customize your experience by building your own deck with the additional cards provided. 23 card pre-built deck, 10 additional faction cards. I like this. You're trying to get the TCG feel without having to worry about it. So Song of Destiny 2 is just 4 different factions that you can use separately. You don't even have to get the first one. Place and play your cards on the battlefield. No mana, no activation costs. Bluff and counter your opponent's plans. Place 2 cards face down on the battlefield. Reveal your cards and place a faction token on each of them. Then you activate your cards to play them. Discard spell cards and reactivate the others. So you can have people or you can have spells. Learn to play in 10 minutes. Access to free tutorial and game park. Okay. I want a rulebook though, if that's possible. Shipping to France, it's going to be 13, US 16, Canada 16. Tariffs aren't included. They will be claimed if they still exist at the time when the production ends. Yep. Esoteric Pledge, €45, 75 Canadian. Song of Destiny 1. Song of Destiny 2 is cheaper, 35. Adventure book, battle map. Yeah, that seems like it's a bit weird that they're going with Song of Destiny 1 as their main pledge, even though apparently that would be the one that people got beforehand. I don't know, just go with Song of Destiny 2. What's the difference? Rulebook, adventure book, battle map, token punch board, or Song of Destiny 2, you just don't get the punch boards. You don't get the tokens. I think it's way better though. You can just find a substitute for any little tokens. A bit confusing. Prologue guide, faction cards. Oh, the PDF of all the faction cards? That's sick. And then the PDF of the token. So if this is just the punch board, right? Like it's very easy to have markers. You take cubes for something else and then you flip them or you remove them or whatever. You have it at the top and you move it on the bottom. You definitely don't need the extra tokens if you're just getting the first 1-page rules. Great. Introductory guide, sure, and then compendium. Great. Okay, I like this. Game ends round 9. You add the core value of the cards still present on the battlefield with their faction tokens. The player with the most points wins the game. So you're constantly fighting on the battlefield, taking out other people's high cards. I don't know why you wouldn't just hold on to your cards for the end of round 9, the high value ones. You just hold on then to the end, and you put it face down, and you reveal them. You're like, haha, you didn't attack me because now I'm over in this corner of the battlefield, and I just sort of win and make everything else not be worth anything. That's sort of an immediate flaw of the game that I could see. But I assume, and I'm hopeful, that with the cards that exist, they would establish a pattern. They'd be able to sort of wreck you as you added high value people to the field afterwards. I love that they just give you the cards too. If you wanted to print and play them, they have them right here. Gains +1 attack for each enemy adjacent card, has 0, but it will have more attack. Skill inverts the attack and defense values. So yeah, it's all just a bunch of different effects that are happening. Cool. I think this looks fun, and a nice little tutorial too that you can play. What a lovely campaign, I think. So if you wanted to get it, the cheapest is 58 Canadian, and then shipping was what, 16, I think we said. So again, it's about $90 for this card game. You'll get 4 factions with it, but even that's the bare bones, and that's without the tokens. I definitely think it looks cool. It looks very well put together. If you gel with trying to anticipate your opponent's movements, multi-use cards with different abilities that will swap things around, attacking on the battlefield, a little bit more tactical, but with that bluffing element a bit, yeah, check it out. That finishes on the 23rd at 3 p.m. Doesn't look bad again, but too expensive for me. So that's it. That's it for the week. Very, very light week, but every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing I think is the most interesting mechanically to me personally, to my own tastes. So if you also share those tastes, well, congratulations. You're an evolved human being. And it might be helpful for you. And then the pick for you being the thing I think if you got, you would regret getting it the least. So let's go through and see a little grunt down before we make our decision to remind ourselves the small fare that we have this week. Yeah. No. Absolutely not. Meh. Absolutely not. No. Yeah. No. Nah. Retail and yeah. So yeah, it's tough. What would I want to play the most? I think the pick for me and the pick for you is probably the same thing. And because Art Society is such a retail pick that it can't be the pick, right? The pick, I guess the pick for me, let's go with this. They're both retail, right? You should not get any of these at crowdfunding, I don't think. But Satchel Quest, I suppose, is the pick for me. Looks fun. I think the drawing of the stuff in the bag will be fun. I like how you're throwing it down in your dungeon. It's randomized. It feels like it'll be a good push your luck game for sure. Pick for you is Art Society at retail that you can already go and get because it is a good production and the insert is actually good. You don't, like, they do a good job with the insert. The original has a good production value already. You know, you don't really need this deluxe version because the original is a good version, and there's a reason why it is popular and is out there. So I like Art Society. I think it's good, but again, you don't need. I don't think you need either of these at Kickstarter or crowdfunding. Just need them at retail. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be retail for a lot moving forward. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Even on this short week, didn't feel like it was shorter. It didn't seem like it was shorter for me to get through, honestly. But I'm distractible today, so that's fine. I appreciate you being here. I really do. I hope that there is some value still that you can have from this channel, and I like hanging out with you. I like hearing from you in the comments. I appreciate anybody who tells their friends about the channel. We're moving closer to that 20K mark, which is pretty cool. We're on the road to 1 billion. That's what Zach and I were saying. How many subscribers do you have? We're on our way to 1 billion subscribers, actually. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate you. You're all great. Hope you're having a fun day, playing lots of fun games. I hope I get to play some fun games really soon. I can't wait till WSBG is done. Oh, I want to play so many games that I haven't had time to do, that now I'm back in Toronto, I can maybe play. Yeah, it'll be great. Anyway, thanks for watching. My name's Chris George. Oh, I don't have a catchphrase. It's very embarrassing, but we do what we can. I'll see you next time. I do have this Henley. This is one of my Henleys from Into the AM. Wasn't sure about the brown. I really like the white one. And I like the blue ones. Brown, I was like, it's kind of okay, but I don't know if it hits my skin complexion or whatever. Oh, and as always, if you're still here, go follow on Instagram, Chris and Jade Chase the Race, because we gon' get on the Amazing Race Canada, baby. And I'd really appreciate it if you went and followed us, because we're going to apply pretty soon once this season ends. Because the finale's tomorrow, I think, for the $250,000 Canadian prize, which is essentially like, you know, one board game. But hey, split. But we'll do our best. Hopefully win every leg. It's the only way I could see having a down payment for a house ever in my life. Sucks being born in the wrong generation, but what can you do? Anyway, I appreciate you all. I'll see you later. It's the real Jade, not the doll Jade for